Micah Frankel, CageMinds.com. We got joining us Adrian Killa Cruz. It's been a long time since we've got to see him in action. All the way back at RFA 18, had the bad leg injury, making his comeback Halloween night, Cage Thunder in Socorro, Texas. Adrian, thank you for the time.
Yeah, of course.
So first off, how happy are you to have been able months ago to get back to training?
It feels good. At first it took some getting used to and getting back in the groove of things, and but now that everything feels pretty good, it's been great.
We're 13 months removed from the injury. How bad was the recovery?
The recovery initially was probably the worst. I was basically bedridden for a month, where I couldn't even do anything. So that was pretty bad. And then going through physical therapy and dealing with the muscle atrophy and the range of motion and all that type of stuff. It was pretty rough. And then I had to get some screws removed from the surgery because they put screws on the bottom and the top of my leg to hold the rod in place in the bone, and the bottom ones were very sensitive. It basically messed up my nerves, so I had to get those taken out. So then I had to go through more surgery and physical therapy and all that stuff. So it was a pretty lengthy recovery.
So how close to 100% does the leg feel again?
It actually feels, pretty close to 100%. When I spar and kickbox and stuff, it feels fine. It feels normal. I would say the only stuff that really doesn't feel 100% is running and stuff, that high impact, top to bottom impact. It's the only time I ever feel anything. It's not like a pain. It's just, kind of annoying.
So from that and the recovery, what did it take to get over the mental block to think about kicking again?
Honestly, it took getting kicked really hard. I was actually sparring with Anthony Rosema, and me and him were actually going pretty hard, and he blasted my leg, and I checked it. So once I was able to realize that it wasn't, going to be a big deal to deal with checking kicks or throwing kicks, it just really took that trial by fire.
So you got kicked by a horse. So sparring with Anthony Rosema, were you able to get that moment through your head? Oh wow, I checked it, or was it after, kind of in between rounds where you're like, hey, I just did that?
Well, when he kicked me, it was right at the end of the round, and he threw the kick super hard because I caught him, so then he kind of got mad, and he was going to town. And so when he threw the kick, I checked it, and I felt it, and it was, wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So we kept sparring, and then when the round was over, I was like, all right, it really wasn't as bad as I thought. So.
Well, that's great. So you're returning to the cage this weekend. How long had you really been saying to yourself, okay, it's time to get back in the cage and actually have a fight? How long was that process so far?
It's probably, the last couple months, 2-3 months. The idea was getting tossed around, and we finally got a fight. So it was kind of, a couple of short notice fights came up, and I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure I had a full camp and try to get in shape and stuff, Wanted to make sure everything was right. I just didn't want to rush into it. So we found a fight for this Halloween card in Socorro, and we thought it was the right time, and I had enough time to train and get ready for it and start working on the weight cut, because that's really what I was worried about, was the weight cut. So I just wanted to make sure I had enough time to drop.
And you were most worried about that weight cut. How is it feeling? Is it the same as what you remember?
So I actually started out lighter than I normally do. My last fight for RFA, I was up to 175 before I actually started cutting weight. And this time I was 165. So I thought it was going to be a lot easier because I already was, down 10 pounds from normal. But the weight didn't want to come off as easy as it did when I was a little heavier. So it just took a little bit of tweaking as far as how I was dieting and how I was working out to try to drop that weight. So it just took some adjustments and some fine tuning to really understand what it's going to take to drop the weight. I have a decent amount still to go, but I still feel pretty good. I don't feel emaciated, or I don't feel like I'm about to pass out or anything, so that's good.
That's always great to hear. I feel like this really flew under the radar. I mean, you're a Bellator legacy RFA vet. There was the injury. We've seen you fight a lot here. I kind of feel like this comeback flew under the radar, that you guys were keeping it quiet leading up to this weekend. Was that the plan, or is that just how it worked out?
It wasn't necessarily the plan, but it is how it worked out. I really didn't really talk about it much. I really was just trying to focus on getting ready. Where normally I would be doing a lot more interviews or promoting it a lot more. I kind of was just trying to focus on getting ready. I didn't really do any of the media stuff that I did for previous fights. And it was kind of nice to just focus on training. And honestly, for a first fight back after an injury, I think that's exactly what I needed.
We're talking about the training. So, coming off the injury, was there any other kind of training that you were doing specifically to help the leg, or that you adjusted because of it?
Well, I did a lot of physical therapy to try to get everything back to normal. I think that was the biggest piece. But as far as training for the fight, really, it's a lot of the same training that I've done previously in the past. So I don't really think anything changed. I did a lot of the same strength and conditioning workouts. I would say I did a lot more techniques going around this fight with wrestling and striking and jiu-jitsu, just making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be, and I'm hitting certain moves or throwing combos, etc. And then the conditioning always has to be that you have to be ready for that. So I don't really think anything changed to adapt to it. I mean, if I'm going to fight, I have to be able to do everything I need to do, so I really can't change too much.
Well, talking about some changes in the training, we heard that you've also now previously were just with Judgment MMA, and now you're also working with Fit NHB. So what has that been like?
It's been great, actually. So Scott from Judgment and Tom and John Judy, they've been talking for a while about trying to get me some more training at Fit. They have a lot of great athletes there, a lot of great fighters, and a lot of them that are close in my weight class. So at Judgment, they're a growing gym, and they don't have as many pro fighters as Fit does. So it is basically came to an agreement where I do a lot of my training down at Fit. I'm still at Judgment as well, but a lot of my sparring and a lot of my workouts are at Fit now. So I've been going to both, and both have been great. So I'm just looking forward to improving in everywhere, in every area possible, so I can try to go as far as I can in MMA. I want to make sure that I excel as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And after they had talked, they kind of agreed that it'd be a good idea for me to do a lot of my training at Fit.
We talked about the smaller bodies, and then there's a lot more of them, so you're getting different looks. What has the actual, sparring and training with those guys been like?
It's been great. There's some tough dudes out of there, so it's really good to get different looks. Some different, areas. They have some really strong wrestlers, really strong strikers. So it was good to spar with those type of people, especially that are my size. Everyone at Judgment is bigger than me. So, there's John and Anthony and Brant, who were all a couple weight classes bigger than me. It's great to spar with them too. But, now that I'm going down to Fit, I have a lot of guys that are my weight class, or very close to it, who are high-level pros. So it helps out quite a bit. And their practices are, very tough practices, a lot of technique. Um, but it's super hard workout. So I think it's exactly what I needed.
And coming up this weekend, ahead of you is Joesph Veloz. What do you know about him?
I don't know much to tell you the truth. I know he's a pretty tough guy. I know he likes to bang. I know he has a wrestling background as well. Um, but looking at the fight, I'm really just focusing on what I need to do, not necessarily what he does. Um, I want to make sure I implement my game plan and do what I need to do and make him adapt to me instead of the other way around. So I really just am focusing on what I do and what I do best, so I can go out there and have a good performance.
Well, obviously, you can't give away the game plan to us, but theoretically, or, what is something you have to get done to feel that you're going to come out of this fight victorious?
I think I need to just be the initiator. Really, I think I need to go out there and do what I need to do and implement the game plan and just stick to it. I need to be proactive instead of reactive is really what I think. And that's what I'm looking forward when I'm going into the cage and I'm getting ready to fight, is just making sure that I'm implementing the game plan.
So from all the time off that you've had, and you're just going to be getting back to action now, what was a benefit of being sidelined for that time?
A benefit was, just getting to hang out with my family. Being a fighter, it's like having a full-time job, and then I already have a full-time job. So when I have a fight, I don't have any free time. So, for example, for this camp, I work at 5:30 in the morning, so I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, work all day, work till 2:30. Go pick up my kids, take them with me to the gym, work out at the gym till 8 o'clock, and get home at 8:30, and then it's already time to go to bed after I eat, shower. So it was good to spend time with my family and then just hang out, and not necessarily have such a hectic schedule that was so fast paced all the time. I got to hang out with my wife, my kids, so it was just great to feel normal for a little bit and not have these other obligations. But being a fighter, it's kind of hard to stay away from that. You're so used to that environment. So it was good to get back in, but I definitely enjoyed relaxing and not having to worry about a diet and having a beer whenever I wanted. It was great.
So what do the fans need to expect from the Killa's return to the cage this weekend?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
What do the fans need to expect from your return to the cage this weekend?
They can expect me to go out there and work. I'm ready to go out there and implement the game plan. Really, I'm expecting a fast-paced fight. I'm expecting a very tough opponent, so I think it's going to be a great fight for everyone to watch.
Halloween night, Socorro, Texas, King of the Cage Thunder, Socorro Event Center. Adrian Cruz, thank you for the time. Last thing, who do you need to shout out to?
I just want to, give a shout out to everyone that's been helping with this fight. First and foremost, my wife and my family. They've been definitely understanding about getting ready for the fight and getting back into that training schedule. I want to thank everyone at Judgment. Scott, Robin, Rich, and Jeff. John's been helping me out quite a bit this fight, and then everyone at Fit. John, Judy, Tom, and Arlene, and then all the training partners out of there that have been helping me get ready for this fight. Comfort Dental, they've been my main sponsor and been helping me out quite a bit. So, anyone that supports me, I also think, I have a couple of people that are going to go out to Socorro and watch the fight. So, I really appreciate the support, and thank you for taking the time to interview me, Michael.
Thank you, sir, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, I appreciate it.